sit at?
They put aside.
I know. There's probably a throne over here on this side. No, do you have a spot at the table or just go ahead?
No,
and grab
just go ahead and grab one.
For trying to reach the things that I can't see. That's just how I feel. That's just how I feel.
They're
That's just how I feel.
desperate.
Trying to reach the things that I can't see.
All right, if you could grab your coffee, your donut, whatever else you need, find a place to sit. We'll go ahead and get started this morning. On behalf of City Ministry Network, I want to welcome all of you to Catalyst. If I can get you to sit. Am I? I'm more grumpy normally. Welcome to Catalyst. This is our once a month gathering for community leaders, and great place to see old friends and to make new friends and to connect and begin to find out and continue to find out what's going on in the community. Great place to be. The Lord's up now, and we're all up, so we might as well get started. Let me pray and we'll begin. God, we thank you for the privilege to gather together. We thank you for what you're doing in our city and around our community. We thank you for your goodness to us. For the measure of health that you have for us this morning. Would you bless our time together now, we pray, in Christ's name. Amen. If you're a Facebook person, you can get on your Facebook and you can put a like on there, or you can invite people to find out more about Catalyst. If you're a first-time guest, any first-time guests here this morning? Okay, great. Now, if you're a first-time guest here this morning, there's a card on the table. I want to encourage you to fill that out. Your name, social security number, bank routing number. But that will be the way that we can stay in contact with you, send you endless amounts of information, most of which you won't want, but a lot of it is really good stuff. So encourage you to fill that out. Not just a one word about filling that out. My dear wife in the back is the one that keeps track of all those names. And she always complains to me that, she said, I know that most of those guys know how to read, but most of them don't know how to write. And so, you know, just a word to the wise. I don't care how you fill it out, but you don't want to make her mad, believe me. So fill those out if you will. If you are a veteran and you're here every month, simply sign in on the sign-in sheet. That way we can continue to keep in touch with you as well. All right, on your tables, there are a number of flyers there for you to peruse. And I want to encourage you to take a look at those. Number of things that are coming up. Rescue conference. There's a guy by the name of Marvin Jacobo that's actually going to be one of the speakers there. You won't want to miss that. April 8th, Love Modesto. April 8th is my birthday, so if you wanted to write down to get me a special gift or send me a card with money in it, that'd be fine. Otherwise, probably more importantly, April 8th is Love Modesto. Great time to demonstrate your love for the community. Wonderful opportunity to connect with people that you perhaps have not met. So there again, Information is there on your table, and want to also make sure that you are aware that there's a catalyst, a list of things that are coming up, speakers that are coming up next month. John Liotti will be here. I don't know how many of you know John. John's from East Palo Alto, has lived there in that community for years and years, doing some really great work there. And John will be our speaker next month. All right, well, it's time to, I think probably most of you have already exhausted your social togetherness this morning already. I couldn't even get you to sit down, but we're going to brave it again, and would love for you to particularly find somebody that you don't know. I know most of you have a reserved table. You always sit in the same spot every month. I want to just stretch you a little bit, ask you to go and find somebody at a table that you don't know, and you're supposed to, I think the question that was here was that you're supposed to ask them what they would want to talk about if they were being asked to do a TED Talk. Now, I have to tell you that less than 24 hours ago, I had no idea what a TED Talk was. And I'm still not too sure what a TED Talk is, but it's something where you're going to give an 18 or 19-minute talk, and you're supposed to really make everybody excited in 18 minutes. So I want you to go find somebody, tell them what you would talk about if you were going to do a TED Talk after you found out what a TED Talk was.
I'm Geni and I'm the director of Enterprise Restart. And this program is meant to help people transform their futures, especially those people that have been derailed by life, by homelessness, by lack of work, or they're just confused and they need a new life. So what we do is we offer classes where people learn how to think differently about themselves and about their possibilities. It's really very rewarding to see the slow transformation that happens when they realize that God gave them talents, and that sometimes life has happened and they forgot that they really have capabilities and they can do many things.
Okay, my name is Jessica, and I used to be a drug addict. I used to run the streets. I lost everything, my family, my kids. So I was homeless. I was in despair. I had no hope. Coming to the Restart Enterprise class, I've gained so many things that I didn't think I would. I've gained how to think positive instead of negative, how to turn my past into positive thinking, into the reality of I'm going to be a success. And I know that my past is not my future. It does not determine who I am. So learning in this class how to just be positive and have hope and put God first and know that I do have a future. I know that I am going to be successful, and it's going to take time, step by step, but with this class and the thinking of the retraining of my thinking really helped me. And I just wanted to say that my past does not dictate my future. I am not who my past is. I am a new creation, and I am a positive thinker, and I'm going to be a success. And after this class, I am able to hold down a job, have my family. God has restored my relationship with my kids, and I'm on the path to success.
Hi, my name is Mandy Pillow, and I I graduate from the Enterprise program. Before I started the Enterprise program, I was pretty lost. I felt helpless. Entering the program, I learned how to make goals and succeed them. I learned how to just give everything up to God and trust in the Lord. And I know where I'm going now in life now. Like I said, I'm making and I'm succeeding goals, and I'm comfortable with where I'm at right now. I have a job now. I bought a car. I'm going to school. And just praise God, everything's going great. And before I had nothing, and now I have just about everything I want.
I'm Lynette Stein, and I've been involved with Catalyst almost since its inception. And 2 years ago, I met Dr. Geni through Catalyst. She was presenting a class on communication. And together, we have developed a program called Enterprise Restart. And we piloted this program 2 years ago at the Modesto Gospel Mission. And we have just had an incredible success at helping people restart their future. And we do this by helping them see who they are and help them be transformed by the renewing of their mind. So it's just an exciting connection that we made through Catalyst, and it is expanding through Catalyst as we're able to serve more and more individuals who have been derailed by life and want a fresh start.
Interestingly, Catalyst was a catalyst for this class happening in Stanislaus County. I noticed that the mission did a fabulous job transforming people's lives, introducing them to the gospel, and helping that in that type of transformation. But I said, what if we start a pilot program and teach this group of people what I teach the top executives, which is how to transform their thinking so that they change their results. The Enterprise Restart is run or is organized by a nonprofit that I've been the executive director of since 2004, and so it is not run as a private business. It's based on donations, and it's part of the nonprofit. And at this point, the funding for this class is in God's hands, because we don't have full funding, and we really appreciate support so that this class can be multiplied, especially with the homeless population. And so if you can help, we would really appreciate it. If you can sponsor a student, we have sponsorship available so that we can really help and transform the futures and the legacies of these individuals.
Or a watchmaker's shop. And we're going to talk, that's going to be the table question at the end. So I want you to think about that, because they're completely different. They're completely different things. So reflect on the organization you're associated with and think about, what is your organization like? So traditional thinking, and this is not clicking, should be line by line, so pretend it's going line by line. So traditional thinking is still alive and well. I was part of that. I have worked with several of your organizations, and we did great plans, we implemented, and we did a lot of that good stuff that had very good results. But this is not necessarily so in 2017 because the environment has changed, our employees have changed, different generations think differently. And many organizations and many leaders specifically are still thinking the way they think things should be. But guess what? They're leading employees that don't think the same way. So let's talk about essentials. The key understanding or the key underlying thought is that no matter what you say about organizations, and there are specific things that when you work with organizations you have to address. People, system, process. But guess what? Unless you address people, everything else goes out the window. And especially today, especially in this culture. And the culture of 2017, whether here, over there, the world has changed, people have changed. And we have raised, as parents, a generation that expects different things. And sometimes I was driving and thinking, I remember in my teenage years that when Elvis Presley was the big thing. And my parents thought he was a deviant. And some of your parents may have thought the same thing. They may have been right, but to us, it was a completely different viewpoint. Our young people see us probably through similar lenses and see organizations that they work for through similar lenses. That's why they move around looking for a place where they can fit. So if we look at people, we look at the different things. This should go slide by slide, but somehow it's not clicking the way I set it up, but that's okay. We have different elements that are required to the well-being of an organization. We have vision and leadership, which these days is essential. And I'm not talking necessarily to CEOs. I'm talking to team leaders. I'm talking to ministry leaders. I'm talking to anybody that works with people. Because guess what? Organizations are made up of people. And if people don't work well, no matter how many plans you have, it's not going to happen. You're going to have a sinking organization. Think about all the big-time international organizations that have been going by the wayside. Why? Because they stuck to all the other things, purpose, systems, vision, which are essential. But they forget one thing, that people are the ones that make the organization happen. So from an organizational point of view, you need to look at people. And what do they care about? The emotional environment, the unwritten rules of an organization. So what is your culture? What is the emotional environment in your organization? How do people feel? You may have tons of plans, but how do they feel? Because especially the newer generations, they're more interested in how they feel, the mission, who they can help, and what they can do than your pretty little plans and your pretty little action plans. Not that you don't need them, you need them. But guess what? People are the ones that are going to implement that. And many of us may forget that. I know in the old days, you know, you had your plan, you had your things, everybody did what was supposed to do, and that's how organizations moved. Not so anymore. So, going back to, in an organization, unless you grow, you die. And that's one of the elements that would cause an organization to shrink and start shrinking and eventually die. So there are unwritten rules. And some people say, well, no, everybody gets along. Really? Do you know all your people's names? Do you know as a leader, do you know, and do they know you know? You may know, but do they know that you know? And that's the difference, because that creates connectedness. And if people, especially younger generations, don't feel connected to your purpose, to the heart of the organization, they're not going to stick with you. So we talk about the keys. There are 5 common keys that, when unlocked, and every one of these aspects goes together, when all these things happen with a strong underlying carriage, which is people, then they work. On your table, you have a paper, you have a stack of papers that are face down that are like these. So these are the different elements. You'll see the different elements of organization, and there are 5 on top, and I put the key under leadership because now more than ever, the role of the leader is essential. And the phases that a leader goes through are essential. And here at the end, you see when one of these elements is missing, the impact it has on organizations and on people. Because mostly, remember, organizations are nothing without people. So they have to, everything we do has to be approached through that filter. So one of the key, and I'm going to just capitalize on one, which is the leadership, the different phases of a leader. There's a lot of research that has been done in what makes successful organizations, what are the elements of successful organizations. And one of the things is the flexibility and the roles that people play. Not necessarily the jobs they have, but the roles they have in the organization. And the latest research has to do with, and what they have discovered is that those things change based on the number of employees, not in the size of the budget, the number of employees. So in a 0 to 5 or 1 to 5 or to 10 person employee, the leader has a specific role. Besides doing what they do, they have specific, and I'm going to show you a few. And then the different sizes of the organization require the faces of the leader to be different. What do I mean? For example, in an organization that has up to 10 employees, it's called a stage 1 organization. The modality of the leader is dominant. Why? Because they have to move the organization. And they have to really work. And the phases of the leader, that means the percentage of time that they have to spend interacting in these kinds of roles varies based on the number. So visionary, why? Because it's a small organization, it may be a young organization, and you have to take it somewhere. So it's important for the leader to spend time creating that vision in the organization. Manager, little time, but specialist, half of the time. That means roll up your sleeves and do the work. You can't sit behind your desk and say, we're going there. You roll up your sleeves and work because that's the size of the organization. If not, you're not going to grow. And then the style, you see, these are all different aspects of the leadership. There's a workshop after, and I'm going to address all these leadership things based on the different size of organizations. But I only have about 5 minutes, so I need to speed through this. In an organization of 58 to 95 employees, which is a stage 5, the modality is facilitative. They have to make things happen, make things easy for the different leaders and different departments. Visionary, 30%. More time needs to manage the different aspects. And I used to have, before we decided to go south, I used to have, and it was south, because I used to have an organization that had about 95 people. I had statewide learning centers. And I had supervisor, I had leaders, they all did the work. I screwed up on the manager part. I really did not. If I knew what I know today, I may not have gotten fed up and closed the business. Because that's the time where the leader has to work with the top leaders and really manage their operations they're getting together. And I personally know that I didn't. I just delegated and abdicated. And that's what I got burned out. I got burned out because I was tired of employee problems and people and so forth. It was on me. And if I had known then what I know now, you know, probably I would look younger. So, specialist is just a little time, because your job is to make sure that your different branches or your different departments don't become silos that don't talk to each other. And then democratic, you see the style, how it changes? Because you have all these leaders, so you have to make sure that decisions are made in a democratic form, in a democratic way. So I'll talk about this. Those that want to stay, I'll talk about this. If there's misalignment, then there's confusion and there's resistance. Some people say, oh, my employees, they push back. Well, why would they push back? You see, there's something that's misaligned. And that's why that little format that I did years ago, it's still valid today, with a difference that on the toppy top, I put a key under vision and leadership. That is essential. So, why? How? Because you have to communicate. And communicate, when you talk to people, they say communicate. Yeah, I tell them everything. That's not communicate, that's telling. Communicate is listen to your internal clients. Listen to your people. Listen and work with them. And respect. Show respect. They're human beings just like you. They have a different role, but they're no different than you. So respect, and they have to feel that respect. Because unless they feel, especially the younger generations, older people like me, they know you're in an organization, you have the boss, you have to do all these things, because we've been raised that way. Not so anymore. People, if they respect you, they will follow you. If not, they will push back or go elsewhere. And it all has to do with how you connect. It all has to do with how you communicate. There's misalignment. There's all these things. So you have the chart to look at that. So important to show clarity, important to show vision and objective. Very important. That's another component. Operational systems, essential. Why? Because people need to know what to do next, and they need to know what you expect. If not, you have chaos. If there's misalignment, there's confusion, there's insecurity. Well, I don't know, do this, I do that. And guess what? If you are in a business it's a for-profit business, you lose money. And in a non-profit business, you have chaos. And guess what? Your clients pick it up. And then your clients start shriveling up, and you say, why aren't we growing? Why don't people want to? Think about that. People management, very important to have a strategy to manage the people that you work with. What's your strategy? Very important. Inefficiency, again, anxiety, frustration. Who has that? Not the papers on the shelf, people. So this is the picture of what leaders have to address in an environment that is people-friendly. That doesn't mean that everybody can do whatever they want. No. There are expectations, but people have to feel that they're respected as human beings, as people, not as a number or not as, something, a cog that helps the organization or the CEO make tons of money. So that's the key, people. So, is your organization, are you as a leader a watchmaker or a beekeeper? Think about it. What do you think? Just I want to hear some words.
You want us to confess? Or?
I want you to confess. Yes, confess. And I will absolve you. So you're all absolved.
Watchmaker's one person.
Okay. Okay, that could be. But you can have a team of watchmakers. Think about the organization. If we look at a beehive and something happens, it is a hornet's nest. But guess what happens? When you knock it off, yes, when you knock it off, it falls to pieces. And what happens? They go and start the nest somewhere else. Because they all know what to do. They all have their things. And things happen, they regroup fast, and they know what to do. What happens when the watchmaker's products falls? It breaks into pieces. What do you have? Junk. Yeah. These days, you have to think about organizations being like beehives. They're very effective, they're very efficient, but if something happens, they regroup very fast, and they keep going somewhere else. They adapt, and they keep going somewhere else. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't have a system, that doesn't mean, and I'm not saying that, this is bad, but this may become obsolete if you want to grow. So, they can be like beehives and operate like clockwork. That's a good combination. And they operate like clockwork, and you see, in this way, as a good leader, you speak out of both sides of your mouth. One and the other, they're both good. So, successful organizations, you think about this. Everybody knows what they do, everybody works together, and everybody gets that. There's order, there's organization, people have roles, but they all work as a team. They all work together. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, the update on the research and on what's happening with successful organizations these days. Nothing has gone out the window, as kind of pendulums go back and forth. But the key is the focus has changed. And the focus is on realizing that the new generation is not our generation. And what they see the world in one way, and if we are going to be successful leaders, we have to get into their maps and see what is it that they see, what is it that they are important, what is important to them, and just work with them, because you will get outstanding, amazing things out of the new generation of leaders, a new generation of employees. They're very smart, they think differently, they were raised differently, and they want to be seen as valuable, as important. Because remember, these were our kids, and we were so happy when they got the trophy for showing up to school with a pencil, and they got a trophy for perseverance. So they're used to being paid attention to. Okay, work with that. Pay attention to them and help them, guide them so that they achieve what they're wired to achieve. So that's my little spiel. And we will have, for those that wants to stay, I'm going to explore this issue of the different phases of the leader based on the sizes of organizations. So whoever's interested, the session is going to be, I don't know, somewhere across the street. So someone will, there. Okay, so that's the question to discuss at your tables. Is your organization, how would you describe your organization? A beehive? something else. Where is it? It's gone. A beehive, a watchmaker's shop, or a combination? And why? Why would you say that? And where do you have to go?
Well, thank you, Jenny. I know she only gave us 20 minutes or so of a little salting so that you can get thirsty for what she's talking about. Some of you did sign up for the workshop. There's still room if you'd like to stick around 8:30 to 10:30. And when you go out the front doors here, just follow the sidewalk to the next room over. It's in the family room. And so she'll be here we'll have a 2-hour workshop to go take a deeper look at what she's been talking about. So if you're interested and if you have time, fantastic. Her slides and her talk will be in your inboxes on Monday. So you can do more, and Mark will have the slides up for you. So I want to thank you. Thanks, Jenny, wherever she is. Give Jenny one more hand. Just a couple of things, and I'm going to spend some time on just one announcement. So let's go ahead and run through the slides just to let you know. First of all, next month, Breaking the Cycle, we're going to tell a story about breaking poverty. East Palo Alto is our narrative, and John Liotti will be with us, and John Britton mentioned that to you earlier. So that's next month. And I do always want to remind you, the topics up here are wonderful. On the other hand, it is this, and it's you that we just treasure, and the wisdom is always in the room. We discovered for sure, the wisdom is there, not up here. And so when you're talking and sharing, that's where the wisdom is. I'm going to ask Sandy, where's Sandy Gunderson? Come on up. Scott Miller with Recovery Modesto. It is once a month. Somebody asked me this morning, well, what's the momentum happening here in Catalyst? Well, we have 4 different gatherings that this is the only one called Catalyst, but we have one for social workers, those who work in recovery. I know Steve, I always call you Mike Berkowitz. Steve Berkowitz spoke last week, but we have one for recovery people, social workers. We have a gathering for women called Inspire, and then we have a pastor's gathering that meets together. Last month, we had 239 people in all of our gatherings together. And the notion, again, is to create culture of collaboration, trust and relationship, and in that way, our city is going to be bumped and moved and nudged into a culture of excellence and leadership for the common good. Our city will be a great place to grow up in and to grow old in. I want to highlight just real quick the women's gathering that meets once a month. This is Sandy Gunderson. I'll let you have that.
Good morning. Inspire is a luncheon specifically for women to gather together to connect, not necessarily for business, but mainly just socially. It's an outlet once a month. You get to come and hopefully be ministered to, inspired through a message, and then the true magic happens around the table here. With 8 women coming together and sharing what their takeaway was from the message. This next Thursday is our Inspire. We meet the second Thursday of every month at Famiglia Bistro. It's the old Jacob's restaurant on McHenry. And Anne Marie Collins will be our speaker, and she's speaking on Live as You Are Loved. And it's going to be a great time. But really quick, I just wanted to say emotional environment. That's one thing that I feel like Inspire has done really well. We're creating an emotional environment, and which works really well with men. Maybe not with men. With women, maybe not so well for men, but with women, emotional environment is a very important thing to have. And so we'd love to see you out.
Thanks, Sandy. I was confronted a month ago because I always say scratch where you itch. Women don't, it touches their heart. That's what women do, so emotionally. Is that not a good thing to say? Was that bad? Oh. All right, I'll hear about it later. What are you doing saying that on the internet in public? Yay, thank you, Sandy. All right, we'll leave that alone. Well, what I want to spend our time with, and I want to get your attention on, is if you could grab this flyer, please. It's on the Global Leadership Summit 2017. It's in here. And I know we have quite a few things on the, if we were Rotary, I would have charged you all $100 to put those things on my, oh, that's an idea. There's a handful of us, there's a growing number in a collaborative effort to begin to move and nudge our city toward excellence in leadership. And what has been true is that as we get each other, if something's going to happen in the city, it always starts in a room. It even starts smaller when two people get together or one person gets together and says, let's do something special. So the movement that has been happening around collaborative leadership, a culture of trust and respect and love in our community as it continues to develop, we want to now begin to expand it into a larger sector to be intentional about growing a culture of excellence and leadership in our community. So we've invited Global Leadership Summit. It'll be a video conference, and it is held in Chicago at Willow Creek Community Church. It is not there, even though there are some Christian speakers, it is for everybody. And you'll see some of the speakers that are on there. What we want to begin to do is get us all in a room, public sector, private sector, individuals, to begin to talk and look at excellent leadership in a manner that we can understand together, to create common language together. And we want to get this out to you now, and there'll be more because we want to. I know our community. We need to get this on the calendar, on your calendar, or else it'll overwhelm you and it'll be gone. August 10th and 11th. Yes, it's all day Thursday and all day Friday. And I'm going to ask Mark Garcia, who does all of our promotionals. Doesn't he do a great job? I know he does a great job. Give him a hand. And he's going to tell you how to get a better deal and where to go on our website to sign up. So, you want to get the podium and everything? Here you go.
Hello. I just wanted to review over the registration piece of it. As you could see on the flyer, we do have a special priority referral code that's printed on there. So if you either want to take a picture of that or take that flyer with you, we have a Friends of City Ministry Network rate that they've given us at the Global Leadership Summit. I also wanted to share with you the potential of signing up to be a summit partner. So if your company or your church is considering a summit partnership, what that allows for you to do is have a reduced rate of that you'll see on the flyer, $99 through June 28th, and then $129 thereafter. So what is Summit Partnership? Basically, it's your commitment to bring at least 25 people from your church or organization. And also with you having the commitment, they're going to influence at least 3 other organizations to attend the summit as well, and that you're promising that you're going to actively promote the summit in meetings and conversations that your group or organization host for that. So I also want to give you a quick what it looks like on our website. Registration is done at cityministrynetwork.org, and if you slide down a little bit there, you'll see that informational graphic here where you're able to click the link that says register. And you can go ahead and click that, and we'll show you what it looks like. It's going to take you to the Global Leadership website, where we are featured as one of the satellite locations where we're going to transmit that via the screen there. And it has the details there. And right there where you see priority referral code, that's where you're going to enter that code to use the Friends of City Ministry Network rate. So I would encourage you to do that as soon as possible to register with that. But like I said, you might want to hold off if you think your organization or church is going to want to be a summit partner to get the reduced rate of $99. If not, go ahead and use the Friends of City Ministry Network rate, and you would enter it right there. Also, so if you have any questions on the summit partnership possibilities, you can go ahead and email myself. There's an email there, and I can give you some more details on that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mark. We wanted to start it in a church location because this is our first time. We want to get it underneath our belt and working all of us together. We have penciled in the Gallows Center for next year, so we can. We're gonna continue to move this town together. So, and you're all a part of that. So I hope that even now you will block out August 10 and 11, and not just for yourself, but who could you bring with you, whether in government, business, whatever sector that you're connected with, Chad, education, and begin to move this city in a continued move toward a culture of excellence and leadership. Let me thank God for you, and then enjoy yourselves. Master, thank you for the privilege you give us together, for Geni and her wisdom. What an honor it is to have her in our city. And then, Lord, you just prompted me to thank you for each one of the men and women in this room. They are each a treasure to our city, in each one in the areas that they influence. And Lord, even today there might be someone in the room that just doesn't feel like a treasure. I pray that you would draw somebody to them just to encourage them, to strengthen them. Lord, thanks that it's a great place to be on Thursday mornings once a month. And for this Global Leadership Summit, may you use it, Lord, to continue to nudge our city into a culture of excellence in leadership so that Modesto continues to move to be a great city to grow up in and to grow old in. Not just for a handful of us, but for all of us. In Jesus' name.